Hi, I'm James Valentine. This is Life's Booming. Grab a cuppa and get ready for an amazing story. Are you ready? Here we go.
I am sitting on the curb of the street. It's so hot inside our motorhome. A young entrepreneur with two small kids asks, "What's the story behind your trip?" Freedom, that's the story.
This journey had so many twists and turns. It is not so much what we have seen, but what we have uncovered on our way. How our path has evolved, and especially the people that we have met.
We have eaten their food, slept in their streets and parks, swam in their lakes, rivers and oceans, ran in their forests, and hike in their mountains.
Most importantly, we heard their stories, shared secrets, and dreamed their dreams. They gave a shape to our voyage. They have added color and music, love and laughter.
They have given sense and meaning to all. They have made all of this possible and much, much more.
We always wash our curtains of our motorhome before going anywhere. And then there is something magical about putting them up when we start going again.
It's like actors who rehearse before the grand opening,
knowing that there is going to be a function every day after.
Remember back in the day, before the internet, when you got all of your information about the world from the 32 books of the Encyclopedia Britannica? Now, imagine moving to a country when all you know about it was from a couple of paragraphs in the Encyclopedia Britannica. That is what my next guests did. They moved with their two children, then aged 5 and 7, from Buenos Aires in Argentina to Sydney, Australia in 1991, guidebook Encyclopedia Britannica. But that's not where the adventures stopped, because once their children grew up and after some persistent emails, they decided to up and leave Australia, travelling the world through more than 30 countries in a motorhome. And they're still on the move. We've managed to tie them down and keep them in one place to hear more about their life. We're going to meet Gracie Schwartzberg and Hector Poch and hear their story of no regrets. Gracie and Hector, hello.
Hi, James. How you doing?
Good. Thanks so much for coming along. Hello, Hector.
Hi, James. How are you?
Yeah, great. It's fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us. Is this true? All you knew of Australia was what was in the encyclopedia?
Exactly true, yes. It was a little map, and the little map has marked the town of Townsville, and we say, oh, that's a tropic, we're going there, we're going to Townsville.
Well, see, when you say that, I would say in 1990, that's about all I knew about Argentina.
Probably, yeah. Nothing, yeah.
Nothing. It was only Sydney, not even Brisbane was in the map, by the way, or Canberra. It was Sydney, Melbourne, and Townsville. Go figure.
Townsville. I think that's in a little map, there's room for that. We can stick Townsville up there, maybe Perth on the other side, that kind of things. Yeah. What was prompting the move? What was going on in your life in Argentina that prompted the move?
Well, Argentina was through many years of dictatorships and very difficult times, economical times, and our family want to have different opportunities. So, like many other migrants here, so that's what we really wanted to do. And not knowing that so many migrants coming here, but that was the same story of everybody else here.
I think we wanted to give our children a very different experience in terms of the future. We had a great childhood, Hector and I, but then it was increasingly difficult to have a professional life in our country. We always say that you discover once you moved out the real reasons why you move out. And it takes a long time to understand, other things that then were crippling down, were bothering you about the way you were living your life, that then it's not easier to see until you actually leave that place for a while.
That's so interesting. What were those kind of things? What are the later realizations?
From my particular point of view, we were living in a society that was very sexist, that was very classist. There was a lot of, what women could do and what women should be doing that never suited well with me at all or with our relationship. We never felt that was our place, to be absolutely honest.
Yeah. Australia and Argentina are actually often compared. At various points, we've had very similar economies and very similar places. Big reliance on agriculture, the outback, mining, similar sort of distant. You like Australia, you sort of go down the map.
Yeah.
It's not dissimilar, Hector.
Yes, there are many similarities. And when we were here, they were saying that Australia was going downhill like Argentina was, but it wasn't the case. So 30 years on, it's not the case at all.
And Argentina had, from my memory, it's something like economically quite good, and then the 80s terrible. The 80s were a terrible time.
Yes, that's right. But it started being bad before. Argentina had really good times after the Second War. Really, really good time. It was like developing, and Buenos Aires were developing in New York or so. But this went downhill, yes. But the 80s were really bad. That was our decision time, really, when we decided to go. The 80s was really bad.
So you come to Australia. Did you go to Townsville? Is that where you headed to?
On our 20 years anniversary of living in Australia, we went to Townsville.
You did? And so what did you find? What did you do?
But that was in the way after 20 years of living in Australia, we didn't go to Townsville.
Oh, you didn't actually arrive in Townsville. So where did you arrive? Right. So where did you arrive and set up, and what did you do?
I came 2 weeks before Graciela and the kids to Sydney because the plane came to Sydney. And so I went to the immigration department, had a few interviews there, and realized that for me as an engineer, that this was the place to be. And then decided just then and there that we weren't going to Townsville.
Right.
And we were talking to Graciela on the phone. He said, how come we are not going to Townsville? We have to go. We're going to Townsville.
So Hector, you're an engineer. Gracie, you're a professional as well. What do you do?
Yes, I am a psychologist, an organizational psychologist. Yes.
Sydney at that time, huge development. You had building development, you had the Olympics coming, Hector, and you would have had a lot of company work and stuff as well.
91 was the worst recession in many years. So by the time we started with our paperwork for the visa until we came here, there was a turnaround pretty dramatic because it was one of the worst recessions in Australia for many, many years.
Yeah, okay. That's the recession we had to have. That's that time.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. Was it harder than you thought?
Our expectation went very set. We didn't have many expectations, basically. We didn't know what was coming. So it was difficult, was very difficult, but we cannot say if it was better or worse than we expected.
Yeah.
We were very determined to make it work. We make a decision and we say we were going to give all our best to make this work. Yes.
Gracie, as you said, the research into Australia was slight. Perhaps it was even hard to find out what it was. What struck you about the place? What did you like? What were you horrified by when you got here?
Well, we came to Australia, among other things, because of the water. We are both water people. So the fact that it was an island, it was very useful. I think the first thing that struck me was the cleanliness of the place and the politeness. Would you say so, Hector? The politeness and the cleanliness.
It was very slow town compared to Buenos Aires back then.
That was a shocker.
Sydney was really, really slow.
Coming from Buenos Aires, Sydney was
a bit of a shocker.
Just a little town that then you couldn't even grab a coffee after 12.
Yeah.
And the shops, you remember those times, James, where the shops were not even open Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
So if you forgot to buy milk on Friday, you were really stuck without milk until Monday. That was a big shocker coming from a big city.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been to Buenos Aires, but I'm imagining it's more like a European city. It's 24 hours. It's busy. It's intense.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So you go to the movies at 10 p.m. That's our normal time. You have then a big steak at 12 o'clock at night. And then you end up having some wine, somewhere at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then you get into your public transport and then you get home. Yeah. So Sydney was not the case.
No. You can always tell the Australians overseas because we're looking for dinner at about 6.
Yeah.
Yes. We became like this. Terrible.
Not in Buenos Aires. Definitely not in Buenos Aires.
Were you speaking English, Gracie, when you got here?
None. So I went straight to an English school for migrants. I was very fortunate that then at that time, we still have classes for migrants free. So my school was next to our kids' school. And the first thing we did with Hector was we bought, remember Hector, the video tape?
A video recorder.
Video recorder. And then I went to the library, to the ABC library, to pick up some Sesame Street videos. Then I enrolled in the English classes during daytime and nighttime. We were very clear that then we wanted to make sure that then we are part of the society in the full spectrum of the society.
What a smart idea to learn from Sesame Street. Do you still now sort of count like you're the Count Dracula? 1, 2, 3.
That's exactly. So my accent actually is not my real accent. It comes from one of the characters of Sesame.
Did you find Australia welcoming?
Well, in my profession, most of the people are from overseas. So I didn't feel off. In my case, probably Graciela had more difficulties, but in the labor market, I was like everybody else, not Australian.
Right.
Yeah, but at the beginning, you needed to have a job in Australia. The first jobs you get here, doesn't matter if you're an engineer with 10 years of experience, they don't give you an engineering job.
Yeah, they don't know the people we are hiring. You don't know what we are talking, what kind of companies you were. So it's difficult. Yeah.
And Gracie, did you find it a bit hard? Was it hard to make friends? Was it hard for you to find work?
Well, James, the reality is that in the society we have today, we are really glad about this, has evolved a lot and has become more embracing and inclusive. Even, there is a long way to go. But as a woman, as a professional, and as an executive, because I have aspiration to be an executive, as I've been in my country, then it was extremely hard. So it was okay as I was doing a job that then didn't require or didn't give me the status, the role, the money that then I wanted to aspire or deserve. It still is extremely hard for women in general to be in a position of leadership. But then after a while, now I teach leadership. So then things have changed a lot. But yes, it was extremely hard. We did have a few sad stories about discrimination and racism that really didn't go really well.
How did the kids go? They were 5 and 7, did we say? So how did they go?
Yes, so just left it at school. Basically, well, the boy was a bit easier because they can play balls and then they get together with our kids. But our daughter had a difficult. The teacher thought she couldn't talk. She couldn't speak, basically, not talk. She couldn't speak. But it was very hard for them.
It was very hard for them. Can you imagine you are uprooting 2 little kids from everything they know, their grandparents, their family, their home, their language, and they have no choice on it. They have no explanation and no choice. And then you put them in a very little home. Our first, apartment was very tiny and we didn't have any furniture. It was very hard for them. It was, yes.
And I always think, when you say something like that, I always reflect I've been extremely fortunate. I haven't had to move country. My country is, I grew up here, I'm still in Australia, still in Sydney. To put yourself into the mindset of what it must take to leave all that and then to take young children to another country. There must be such pressure. It must be, if that's going to be better than where you are, then it's a tough decision. It's a big thing to do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, but then as soon as we arrived here, it was clear for us that there was a future, and then we could see lots of opportunities. So that was very helpful in that way. But it was tough. We were delivering newspapers with the little kids after school at night. But then we could always see, we were always so positive, optimistic. We could see the difference. We could see.
That was big difference with Argentina.
Yeah,
Argentina
we could
was
see it. So that
difficult.
was very helpful.
Are you always positive? Like that's intriguing, isn't it? Like some people will be brought down by circumstance. You saw the possibility. You were positive.
Yeah, you have to be optimistic to go through here. Two years until really you settle in, and you have to be optimistic. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You said you were water people. Did you manage to settle by the beach? Did you start surfing, swimming? What did you do?
Yes, we lived. The first place was Maroubra, so very close to the water, and then in the eastern suburbs, we stayed there. Before going to work, I used to go for swimming every day. It was really good. Yeah, I love it.
And then we moved to Pyrmont, and then we had our kayak. And then we joined the dragon boating community, and we became Australian champions in dragon boating, representing Australian World Championships.
Okay.
Yes, we are always on the water, always, till today.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, your children grow up, so you settle into Australia. Eventually, after those hard first years, it all works. You're okay. The kids grow up. You then decide to travel. How did that come about? What pushed you to travel again? I'd almost think you've done the big move. Did you want to keep on moving?
We always wanted to travel. And the story is that Graciela used to send me an email every Monday saying, I want to be free. I want to be free. Let's go somewhere. Let's go. And we keep saying, looking for the right time. And
Sorry for the interruption. I'm James Valentine, and yes, it's me interrupting myself. I'm not sure who that's rude to. Anyway, over the next few minutes, you'll hear a change in the audio. We had what you might class as a technical issue, or you could also classify it as the batteries died on our good recorder and we've used the backup. Yeah, happens to the best of us. Stick with me. The sound will return to normal very soon. So, Gracie, you're sending an email every Monday saying, come on, let's get going.
I say I want to be free. And Hector being the rational part of this relationship. And by the way, we've been together since we are 15 years old. So that we always wanted to travel, but we never had the opportunity in our country. And then, we have the kids straight away. We married very young. We have the kids, and we have the house, the degrees, the work, the mortgage, the movie. But we never lose sight of the bigger picture, what we wanted to achieve in life. I know it sounds very heavy, but that was the truth. We always thought that the world was such an extraordinary place. And then we have always been very adventurous, and we wanted to explore and have fun. So then, yes, every Monday I would say to Hector, wherever I was like, I wanted to be free. And Hector was, we need to pay the mortgage funds. And then we will free. And I'm like, no. Just tell me exactly when I'm going to be free. And he was like, well, and he will do all the accounting thing. And it's about the mortgage here and this here. Yes. And then one day he turned around.
And I said, I'm ready. And then our daughter decided to get engaged. And she said, my engagement is on the 3rd of March. And we bought tickets for the 4th of March.
Right.
And that was it.
Did you need a bit of a push, Hector?
Yes, they always push the push. I cannot say other things. They are different. Different.
So where did you go on the 4th of March?
To India. So we bought tickets. We spent the first 3 weeks in India, half 10 days in the south and the other 10 days in the Golden Triangle. Very
a little back.
Yeah, just work. Yeah, we're bags. We were back. We sent our bags to London because we had friends in London, and then we traveled. Yeah, very light. Just to get
to get away.
Maybe we're going out for a year. We didn't know. We didn't know.
How long have you been gone now?
It's going to be 8 years in March.
8 years. Hector, what is it you're seeking when you travel? Why do you travel? What do you love about it?
Finding new places. We don't stop in places for a long time, and then it's discovering and look for places and finding places to go and do hiking and bicycle, and we can just get our kayak. And then the people come. Then we stop in a place, and it's usually in South America, people who look at the motorhome and see there's something different and come and talk to us. And it's really, really good. Really good.
What do you like, Gracie? What was that urge when you were 15, 16, you want to travel? Is it still the same urge? Are you still looking for the same thing?
I think so. I like to be immersed in people's stories, people's life and the environment around it. I have always this sense of wonder and curiosity that then it's almost like, starving in a sense. And I love not knowing where I'm going to wake up. And I know it sounds like a little bit weird. It's like, well, I always wake up with Hector just in case. But these kind of things of, Hector said, we never stay 1 or 2 nights in one place. So we are always in the move. I could never stay still. But then I think it's my spirit too. I need to be moving. I need to discover. I need to learn. I am an avid learner.
So you graduated from a light backpack to a motorhome. That's a fair old leap. What made you decide that?
One of the things was they have control over what we eat. We having our kitchen. That was important thing for us. And even it's the most independent thing you can get because it's more than the backpack. In the backpack, you're depending on finding a backpack, a hostel or something like that. Yeah. So the motorhome is...
So then that we have everything combined. We have always been avid drivers, both of us. We tend to fight about who drives because we both love that. And that was resolved very early on in our trip after a few fights. And, I think that in having this freedom, I cannot explain, it's a very strong sense of freedom that then you just arrive to a place and you love that place. And that's where you stay put. And then you have everything you need. It's a very simple life. Mm-hmm. We travel to very remote villages.
And what we see in between, if you even go to a tourist area, is what we see in between the tourist area that nobody sees.
Right. And do you tend to stop just anywhere, not looking for the caravan park or the trailer park?
No, the caravan park was the first day. Only the first day. Then there was wild camping all the way.
We have a rule.
No,
it's the C word. We don't talk about the C word, which is
the camping. No,
camping grounds. It's the C word for us. So no camping ever. In 8 years, we camp in rivers. We stay in rivers, in beaches, in mountains. Never ever. Churches and cemeteries. So that's our team.
Churches and cemeteries.
Yeah.
Describe the motorhome? What is it?
Well, we have all the facilities. It's a 6-meter motorhome.
Small.
Fiberglass on a Ford Transit. It has the bed comes down from the ceiling. So it's a big living area. And so at night the bed is ready to sleep. We have our kitchen con 3 burners. The nice big fridge. I don't know.
And then we have a toilet and a shower. Hot water.
Yeah, hot water, heating. It's very comfy.
Yes, we have solar panels all the way to be completely independent.
It is.
It strikes me that I'm starting to hear sort of a life in 3 parts here. There's the life in Argentina, then you leave. There's this life in Australia, which sounds very organised and very busy. Now there's this life of kind of freedom. How you're still together through all these lives? Are you different with one another in this life compared to the mortgage life, or compared to the Argentina life? Are these 3 different kind of relationships?
Oh, what a great question. What do you think?
I don't think so. There were adjustments when we started living together in such a small place. In the motorhome.
What are the adjustments? What do you mean, Hector?
Well, say, for example, at the beginning it was difficult for us to park the motorhome because it was bigger than we used to drive. And if I drive and she was doing instructions, it was impossible. Every time we had to park, she had to drive and I had to do instruction because it goes... So that's an example of the rules we have to put in place.
Right.
To get things. And even after we were already together for 37 years back then, so... when we started, but still.
But then we don't have anyone outside, and we have only one set of keys, one mobile phone at that time, one computer. We were together 24/7, and no other room. So, no, I think we have lived through an enormous amount of things already in our lives.
Do you need time alone?
We don't have much time alone.
We say that all the time. We say all the time, especially if we are having some interesting conversations. Well, maybe we need to spend time alone. And then as soon as we spend 2 seconds alone,
Yeah.
we are on the phone. Oh, I miss you. Oh, come and pick me up. Oh, I want to be with you. Or, it's like, it's really pathetic, Jeff.
Yeah,
It's really pathetic.
It is. What's wrong
It
with
is-
you two?
It is really pathetic. We always make jokes about that.
Yeah. So you've travelled the world. Tell me the countries you've been through. How many countries have you traversed?
Well, if you go through, it's France, Spain, Luxembourg, Germany, Belgium, Holland,
The whole
Denmark,
Europe, Russia,
Norway, Sweden, Finland, Estonia,
Portugal,
Latvia,
Slovakia.
Poland, Slovakia.
We spent
Italy.
in Europe. How long we spent?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. And then we crossed to Africa.
Okay.
Morocco.
And then we were in Morocco for 3 months. And then we were going down when the Ebola strike. So we couldn't continue traveling. So we had to go back to Spain again.
And then we shipped the motorhome to Uruguay,
Mm-hmm.
South America.
From
So
Germany.
we did most countries of South America: Brazil, Argentina, Bolivia,
To Antarctica.
Chile.
We went down south.
From Argentina
Right.
to the tip of Argentina.
So is motorhoming in Europe different to South America, different to Australia? Are there different kind of conditions, different habits around it?
Different every time. Europe is very organized. There are places specifically like car parks for motorhomes with your connection to electricity, water for €2, very cheap. And you have the campings that we don't go, the very expensive campings.
Mm.
In South America, there are no campings, nothing, no facilities. We go like where the hiking is, and we stop in the car park of the hiking, and then we stay there
Love it.
until we finish all the hiking
No
and then
rules.
continue.
Beautiful. Freedom.
Anywhere, yes.
Mm.
And Australia.
And Australia, we just found out about 6 months of traveling in Queensland. There are so many rules here too.
Right. So lots of rules about where you're allowed to park and where you're allowed
Yes.
to camp.
Oh,
and all
my
that sort of
goodness.
stuff.
Exactly, yes.
Yes. And then if a neighbor sees you parking, then they call the police and, oh my goodness.
But here, I think here is about nature, basically. It's about fundamental nature. It's not,
Yeah.
because if you go through the coast, it's all the same. Or if you we love the beach, we love to be there. But it's all about discover all the nature inland. It's so much to see,
And so you went off one day to India, and 8 years later, you're still traveling. Is that it?
That's it, yes.
We are not traveling, we are living, James.
We are-
That's
You are
our
living.
life.
Yeah, you are living. Yeah.
That's our life. We don't consider traveling or holiday anymore. It was interesting. When COVID arrived, we were in Costa Rica. So by that stage, we have left the motorhome there. We came to Australia. We come to Australia to see our children, and then for me also to do work with my clients. So then we were here for a week when we heard about the whole COVID thing. Yes, at this stage now expanded and exploded from China beyond. And then everybody say, you have to go home. And for us, go home was to our motorhome.
In Costa Rica.
Yeah, right.
So then we bought a ticket then and there after arriving here for a week, and we went back to Costa Rica.
And then they closed the border that night. We arrived to Costa Rica and they closed the border just behind us.
Yeah, so you're stuck in the motorhome
Yes.
and stuff. Did that feel trapped?
Well, it was a beautiful place. We were in a parking lot across
beach?
just the road across the beach. And it was fun. It was
There was
beautiful.
no one. So the whole beach was for us.
That was our...
But it took us 6 months to come back.
Wow.
And then in the meantime, we missed the birth of our grandchild. And that was really hard for us. And we didn't know, if we could come, when could we come. So
Yeah, I think we were lucky because Costa Rica didn't have many cases when we were there. Yes.
And then we arrived here. We are here for 5 months, again, working, doing the thing, living in some place, someone other place. And then we look at each other and say, what are we doing here? Let's go and buy a van. And then we bought a van while we are waiting.
While you're
go
waiting to get back to your
Costa
other
Rica. Yes.
Yeah.
So we bought one here and we took
Off
off
to Queensland.
to Queensland before the whole
Before
Sydney
the
lockdown.
So funny. And Gracie, you've kept working through all this. So you've
Yes.
you've been able to run your career from
Yes.
wherever you are.
Yes, I've been very fortunate that then by this stage I have had my own consultancy business for more than 20 years. So a lot of the clients decided, yes, we can work virtually, which no one heard about virtual stuff at that stage.
And it wasn't that easy in 2014.
It was so difficult with the internet. And then I took some clients with me. And this stage, I was also a professor at the university. I took some stuff from the university. So I was able to continue working and to even have even more clients. And it was great. And then it's the community work we do overseas that is very important to us. We are in small villages, and I do a lot of work with people who have gone through torture and trauma. That was the thing. So we park our motorhome in various places that then tourists do not go to. And then we open the door. We have an open door policy house. And then people are curious. They come, they look, and I say, come for a coffee. And then I work with people like that in every place.
And this is your psychological background.
Yes.
That's what you're.
Yes.
So so this is what you say. You're not traveling. You're living your life. Hector, what do you do if Gracie's working like that? Have you continued work? What's your assignment?
My assignment is assist Graciela. I am working for her now.
Yeah, right.
Basically, in the last few years, she became a lot more client. We came here when our grandson was born 4 years ago, and I'm helping her basically. Yeah.
But Gracie gave you a goal, right, for each country. What do you have to do?
The goal I gave you when we start traveling.
Meeting people.
And what does that mean? Why did she have to give you a goal of meeting people? What does that mean?
Well, she always that's what she does.
No, but
give me goals.
What was the goal specifically? It wasn't about meeting people. It was like every day. I did give him a SMART goal, okay?
Specific.
Every day.
I have to meet one or two people to talk to someone because I am a software developer. Not during my work, I usually don't talk to many people.
So Gracie's being very wise here. She's saying you need to come out of yourself a little bit. Get your head out of the code. Go and talk to some people.
Exactly, yeah.
What's been the scariest moment? I mean, you're describing being in remote villages, being in places where tourists don't go, being in places where there's been trauma and difficulty. What's been the scariest moment?
Do you think like being lost in Brazil?
At one point, we were in a big city in Brazil, and we were going back with our GPS, and apparently there was something in a football match. They closed most of the roads, so the GPS didn't know what to do, and we were just turning, and suddenly we realized that we were in the wrong place. We were really in the wrong place. It was scary.
Yes, we couldn't drive. We were in the middle of the favelas, but up high. So there was no road to go out.
And the favelas are like shantytown sort of thing. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that what you're describing? Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you get out of it?
Well, we were looking at the map, I said, okay, there's only 300 meters and up to a freeway there. Just go for it. We couldn't see because it was so steep. The streets,
coming down.
Usually these shantytowns are in the slope. So it was so steep, we couldn't see anything. Before that, someone said, don't come here, don't get in. So there was nobody there. As I said, there was only a few hundred meters. Let's go for it. And we went and we came out.
So we drove I was driving so fast that then I thought if there is any other car coming the other way, then this is the end for us.
Yeah, and the next day we were with locals there talking about it, say, you're lucky you went out of that one. Yeah, it wasn't that good.
What's the remotest place, like, the furthest from people you've been?
Finland?
Or that place when we stopped in the middle of the night in Peru, where in the morning we were the motorhome started to do like going side by side.
It's rocking back and forth.
Back and forth the motorhome. Yes.
We thought it was an earthquake.
Something was happening. So that was the middle of nowhere. We were driving in Peru. And there was a cow that was
rubbing itself against the motorhome.
They thought it was just another big cow.
Yes, I think so. They were making love. I think so. It was really funny.
That was one of the remote places we've been.
Yeah. But then we've been in remote places in Argentina.
In
when
Brazil.
You drive through the south of Argentina, then sometimes you go 400 kilometers and then you don't see not even an animal. You see nothing. In the middle of the Patagonia, and we stopped the car in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And yes.
Could anybody do this? I'm both jealous and somewhat in awe. It's like, my Lord, you've just taken off, you've just traveled the world. You have just, get up each morning, drive to the next place. Extraordinary. Do you think anyone could do it? What do you need to be able to do it?
We've seen people from everywhere, from many places. In Europe is easier. Before we went, we talked to someone that from Australia had done it. Not as many to South America, but we've seen in South America lots of people doing it. I mean, lots. I won't say lot; it's not a huge number as the motorhome here in Australia. But there are a number of people doing especially from Europe. But anyone can do it.
Anyone can do it, but it's not a life for everyone.
Yeah.
So then
it's a fantasy for many people.
Yes, it is a dream and a fantasy, James. We talk to people and people say, oh my God, you are living my life, the life I wanted. So we always say that then we are fortunate that then we live the life of many people. But then when you say, well, listen, this is the reality. Yes, you need to clean the toilets, every 2 days, 3 days. You need to sometimes spend the whole day looking for water or a gas bottle. Here is easier, but it's not easy in Turkey, to find a gas bottle. You need to be ready to sleep anywhere and never be afraid. So we are never afraid. People say, aren't you worried? We have zero worries in any country. We are never afraid. But then some people like the structure. We don't have the commodities. Again, we travel with only one shirt, 2 pair of jeans. We wash the clothes, sometimes in rivers, sometimes in nice laundromats.
Well, our advantage was having lived in another country, and speaking the language in this case.
Yeah.
But having lived somewhere else, it just gives you a bit more openness, probably. We were talking to someone here in Australia, and he said, oh, no. I said, we used to do this, just sleep next to the beach every day in South America, and say, but you get killed in South America. So people are afraid of what they know, what they don't know.
But that's ignorance.
What they don't know.
We always say that's part of ignorance.
But you are a bit afraid of what you don't know.
Yeah. You've got English and Spanish. How do you deal with languages when you?
Those two.
Yeah, those two. Yeah.
Is that just about enough? It'll get you through most?
All of them. We cover the whole world with both of us. But we travel in China, but not with the motorhome. So then basically with English and Spanish, we really cover the whole world because we can understand Portuguese. That's in Brazil and Portugal.
And with Spanish, we can understand a bit of Italian.
When you really want to communicate, I don't know, you can find always ways.
Look, I have found this an amazing conversation because we've got, the theme of this program is no regrets. I haven't spoken to anybody, either in this program or I'm thinking sort of in life, who has ever exuded a lack, a lack of regrets as sort of thoroughly as you two. It's just this overwhelming sense of, and we got up and we went to Australia and then we had to make it through and then we did this and then I said, we need to be free. Let's get going. And I feel like today you're excited about tomorrow. It's this great vibe. You have no regrets, right?
No. And we can't wait to go back. It's interesting because we do have to do compromising, like having our 3.5, we have another one coming up. Grandchildren was really difficult for us, completely difficult for us. But then we realized that in our life is much bigger than that. So we are fun and gorgeous grandparents, but there is so much more to life.
We combine the vision of Graciela's vision of to do things and the doing things of that I had myself. So
what do we call the CEO?
The CEO and the CFO and the CEO.
Not the CFO, the CEO.
No, COO.
And the COO. So I have a COO that makes it happen.
Yeah.
And I am the CEO that does the strategy and the vision.
But you'll be the funnest grandparents, you'll be there for your grandchildren when you're a bit older, they're a bit older, and you'll be so great.
We decided to have a book, which is just it's not even it's like a blog. I started the blog when I went just for the family, no advertising, nothing, just for the family blog of our impressions. And Hector takes pictures. So we want to have a coffee table book with pictures to leave to our grandchildren because we want them to know that once upon a time we were, fun and young and sexy and energetic and all of that, because I know that's not going to be the case in maybe 20 years' time.
Do your kids miss you? What do your kids make of this decision, make of this of your life?
I think they have gone through stages. At the beginning, our son will say, when are you coming back? When are you coming back?
Before we left, he was living in England for 5 years, so he left first. But it's not the same. It's
No,
not the
I
same
think
if the
kids-
parents go. And
I think kids are okay when they leave, but they are never prepared for the parents to leave. and it's almost like you cannot have a life, in that sense.
Yeah. Children get very upset if their parents behave irresponsibly.
Correct. But I think they are proud that then we had a dream since we were young, and then we worked so hard to make it that a reality for us. I think that's a lesson that then we want to give to our children.
What have you got most out of all this? What do you treasure most out of it? What is it that, I was asking before, but why you do it. What do you think you've got out of these years on the road?
For me, there is two things. One is the simplicity, the appreciation of the simple things in life. My goal was to live in the moment, because you won't believe this, but then I am a planner all the time. I live in the future. So my goal was to find a way to connect with the present and to embrace the today. So I think I am more into that, and to let go, because I am the one who holds. So I am not there yet, but I think that's what I have learned. The simplicity of life. You need so little to make your life being great.
Yeah.
And that will be me. What do you think?
yeah, and I think the variety of people we have met,
Ah.
from so different areas that you can never imagine. And then you see even things in common. We always tell the story. We were in a shanty village of fishing village in Chile, and we ended up talking like things like we can talk with other, like we were talking about issues with the grandparents and the grandchildren and the kids who has the one we can visit or not visit. Things like from so different angles in life, and then people are people, and that's very interesting, very, very interesting.
Yes, that then you can have almost the same kind of conversation. I think what is the most is that then the ability to stop and to spend the time with people that otherwise they go unnoticed in your life, Yes.
Over the years, as you're saying, you're meeting people all the time. Do you keep in touch, or is that kind of not the aim necessarily?
Both.
Yeah, most of the time, no. It's just a short period of time. But we are in contact with people, especially a couple from Germany, that we really found very close to us.
And then we travel a lot. We met then at different places in Europe. But we do get in contact with people, but then it's interesting that you say the aim is not. There is something very special and liberating when you don't have this investment in the relationship, that then you can be fully yourself and say the most, disgraceful things ever. You can be completely raw, that then there's no judgment, because there is not a next day relationship. I have to see your face at work. But yes, we have a lot of people we get in touch with. We have a legion of Facebook admirers.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. Wow, that's it's not very close.
Beautiful conversation. So lovely to meet you. I mean, that's been very special for me. Like, it's like you're describing meeting people in a fishing village. I've suddenly met you two, and you're like, it's such a wonder. It's so great. So thank you so much. As I said, I think you win. You win the No Regrets trophy for this series. The couple with the least ever regrets.
Yes,
Gracie,
we accepted Horsehand.
That's right. Olympic champions, Gracie and Hector, in the No Regret category. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, James.
Thank
Lovely
you,
to
James.
meet you. Thank you so much
Thank
for the
you, James.
invitation.
Thank you.
In the next episode of Life's Booming No Regrets, discover how a Central Coast GP escaped communist China and what it was like growing up with the famine and persecution of Chairman Mao's Great Leap Forward. Thanks for listening in to this episode of Life's Booming No Regrets. If you've loved this story as much as I did, don't forget to tell all your friends, in person and online. We'd love it if you left us a review. Of course, if you've got a great story of your own, drop us a line, lifesbooming@seniors.com.au. I'm James Valentine. I'll speak with you next time.